they're fairly simple. What would you recommend for an 85-year-old man who suddenly has acquired travel anxiety? He immigrated here from Italy when he's young and goes back to Italy every 3 or 4 years. Always been a great traveler, but now he's really anxious about the process. I mean, he's not afraid of flying. It's will my bag
Yeah, it's like the traveling and
yeah.
Has there been like an incident where like he fell or like an illness or anything like that in the last year?
I asked his daughter that, and she said no. Well, what happened was they had another trip maybe a month ago, and nothing worked out well. All the
Yeah.
things that happen to you now when you travel, which is anxiety producing for anyone, but it's become kind of debilitating for him. He feels like he has to make this trip. It may be his last one to see his family. So he feels like he has to go, but she said he's not sleeping, worrying about it. So I didn't know if there was a difference between just regular anxiety and this kind of anxiety.
Well, there can be like there is different kinds of anxiety, and I don't know that they're necessarily labeled like that, but there can be anxiety from past events. There can be anxiety from old memories, anxiety from poor respiratory rate and things like this. But like in this particular case, I call it like fear, anxiety. But there's irrational anxiety or fear, and then there's rational anxiety, fear. And I would say this probably falls under rational anxiety and fear.
Yeah, I would too.
Like traveling, like you said, traveling, especially internationally, is not like what it used to be. And there's more problems potentially with international flying than local flying. And there's just not just the difficulty, but there's also the potential for getting sick or contracting COVID and then not being able to leave. Like there's lots of reasons to have anxiety about going to Italy right now, for him. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we can try to keep him calm, but like, unless there's a dramatic change in things that someone would read in the news in the next few months or whatever before he goes, it's probably not going to go away. You know what I mean? So the best thing you can do is try to calm it. And so I would say there's a couple things that you could do. One would be that you could start giving him a little bit of the kava kava or spikenard internally, like daily, especially like right as he's getting ready to go to bed. You could, if those aren't something you have handy, tarragon, and the reason being that the tarragon balances out the rest and repair mode, like it helps tone that, and it also helps you deal with like a little bit of shock or emotional upset. And he's not necessarily like upset about what's happening, but the upset is like perceiving what potentially might happen. Right. And like I might get stuck, I might do this, I might have that, I might, there's a whole bunch of the what ifs, and it's not going to fix it, but it might be able to calm him down a little bit with that. And then the other thing would be that blue healer, like body tonic or lotion or something. I would have somebody rub that on his back like every night.
Okay.
Like it's going to calm down his emotional responses. It'll calm down some of his agitation in his body from all this stuff. And it doesn't change the thing that he's going to be going and doing, but it just helps you to be less agitated and less like anxious about what you're going to have to do, and
is blue healer something that he could inhale, like if he were on?
Yeah, he could inhale it, or but it's probably better topically for him. I mean, he could, but
Because I was thinking if he were in transit, you know, it would be.
Yeah, he could smell it like that. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Even inhaling the kava kava would work, but I mean, he has some valid reasons for why he's, you know, anxious
Yes,
and
I agree.
yeah, and the thing is it's not even like, well, we hope for like a good smooth travel with no problems. Like you can't really even think that way anymore. Like it's going to be, I hope we're able to deal with the problems that pop up rather than I hope there's no problems. And so I think the thing is if we can keep him calmed down, that as he's traveling and whatever hiccups pop up, you know, he's able just to adjust and flow and adapt.
Mhm.
I mean, sometimes the issue is just like there was a delay or there was a bigger layover or you know, whatever. But it still is like nothing ever goes super smooth traveling anymore.
Right.
Like we factor in so much extra time when we travel because I mean, there's times where we can't get home for an extra day or something, and so you just have to be prepared for that. Weird things are going to happen.
Okay.